Good evening and welcome to the Formula Racing League Assetto Corsa Competizione, round 9 and the final round of season 13 Taco Tuesday. We are in the United States of America in Watkins, Glen. I'm Tom Kent in the commentary position, providing you with the details for the season finale. The Pro title race may have been decided 7 days ago at the Nürburgring, but there are still two contenders for the Silver Championship. They are the firm favourite Daniel Aus from Denmark and Gordon Brown from Scotland. It's between those two. It should be an interesting finale here in Watkins Glen to round off the 13th edition of this Taco Tuesday series that has been going on since 2021. Well, last week it was a domination again from Jared Vermeulen. 2 wins in a row it was for him, coming out of on top in the end over his nearest rival, who had finished in second place, Jeffrey Godefroy. I don't think it was Jeffrey Godefroy actually, just looking back on it. At the Nürburgring, round 8. Godefroy was fastest out of all those in that wet-dry qualifying session. But it was Jeffrey Godefroy who was second, ahead of Luke Prentice in third on the podium again, with Farclava Vissel in 4th position. Alberto Aragonese has crossed over the line in 10th place, but with Carl Sween only managing 8th, it is mathematically impossible for Aragonese to be caught in the championship race if you take into consideration the dropped score rule. And in silver, Daniel Aus won out over Cameron Blair and Dario Danko. Gordon Brown had a race to forget, really, and in the race nearly 40 seconds off the race winner and losing ground in the title battle. And so it's 5 points between the two of them. Gordon Brown's worst result of the season has been 12th, and Daniel Aus's worst result of the season has been 13th. So it's likely that both of them will improve their scores this evening, which means that Gordon Brown needs to outscore Aus by at least 6 points to have any chance of taking the title here tonight. We're into the final minutes of practice, and Carl Sween has just gone to the top ahead of Adam Sharp. Some of these drivers will join the server at different times to each other. Got 31 drivers in the server as we speak, which is pretty good. And looking at how many we've got from each class, we've got at the moment, well, in check-in we had 11 for Pro and 17 for Silver. I can tell you the numbers don't quite add up, do they? So looking at how many we've got in Pro, we've got a total of 14 from Pro, which means we have 17 from Silver. And it looks like all those that checked in who are in Silver are in the server this evening. We'll go on board, well, I was hoping we'd go on board for a lap with Jackson there, but we've come away from him. We've got the 103 that's going over the line now, which is Mark Bird. We'll go for a lap with him. And as he heads towards the first corner. So in third gear on the exit, and then using the curbs on the outside as he makes his way up the hill. It's very easy to get wrong through here, and there's no room for mistakes really. Up to 5th gear through the right-hander without needing to lift off. We'll be using the chicane in this configuration, which is how the game is set out to be. Riding over the curbs in 4th gear, lifting off the throttle as he goes over them, and through the banking there in 4th gear and in 5th. It's on camber through there, and then another banking. Third turn on this particular course, it will be turn 11. Through toe and through the boot, So it's shaped like a boot, this part of the course, whichever sort of way you look at the circuit. And it's turn 8, which is the heel. And we've got 3 more corners of which the drivers will be navigating through. This is turn number 13. We just had turn number 12 of heel. This is the 14th turn of the circuit. It's very easy to get wrong here and exceed track limits. Mark Bird has kept it within the limits on this lap anyway. I can tell you it's less than 19 minutes this lap will be. Let's see where he ends up in terms of the time. We may not get to see where he's ended up, but at least Mark has provided us with a tour around this Watkins Glen circuit. And so we are underway for qualifying. It says 26 minutes, but the first 13 will be for those in the silver class. And the last 13 minutes will be for those in pro. Martin Krevik on circuit in the 248 Ferrari. Hoping to go better here than he did so at the Nürburgring last week. Well, I don't think he actually competed in Nürburgring last week, I should say. He didn't score any points. But he's hoping to bounce back here. And whilst Alison Brown's positions at the top are secure, even though we don't know which order it will be between those two, there is a battle for third place still to be decided between Ryan George and Jack King in silver. Dario Danko and Matteo De Angelis could both still mathematically catch them. It's very unlikely that they'll be doing so. There is Krevik coming towards the penultimate corner of the circuit. This is on his out lap actually, so this is not his hot lap. Let's see if we've got any more joining since we went on that tour. It looks like these are the numbers for this evening. Krevik crossing over the line to begin his fast lap. This is not going to be his fastest lap by any means. No rain is expected for this session, so the track will improve in due course. Krevik going up the hill. And then through the right-hander before he gets to the loop. Four corners to nail here. It's very easy to get it wrong depending how you take the curbs. And once you go over those curves, you ideally want to be lifting off the throttle. Just allow the car to roll through that particular section. Now he heads towards turn number 10, and then we've got 5 more corners of which to get through before he gets to the line. Who is going to take pole in silver? There's no points on offer for those in silver in pole, to get pole position. It's the same for everyone. The likes of Gordon Brown and Daniel Ellis are the two we want to be focusing on the most. But Krevik is the first one who's going to be crossing over the line to get a lap time on the board. Where is this going to place him, I wonder? Through the right-hander. He clips the wall on the exit. That'll cost him a bit of time on the run-up to the line. And his time is a 1:45.7. So Krevik setting a benchmark at least anyway. We've got the 79 heading over the line, which is Chris Gedman, 2 seconds off the pace he is. We've got the number 10 coming through. Who's that that's coming through? That is Ryan George. 3rd place in the championship in silver coming into tonight. He's 7 tenths away from Krevik's time. DeAngelis goes to the top though, with a 1:45.0. Nearly 7 tenths quicker than what Krevik had posted a moment ago. The next driver heading over the line is Dario Danko. His time is a 1:46.6. got a few more drivers heading over. We've got a couple more. We've got the 85 of Vince's Dybel going over. He was third for a moment, but Kyle Revel is able to displace him. He goes up to second. And now we're seeing Thomas Vitra go to P7 in the Lamborghini. And Keith Massar in the 77 Lamborghinis up to 6th place, 1.6 seconds off DeAndres' time. We're seeing more times coming through. Daniel Als goes P3. He is ahead at the moment. Where is Gordon Brown on the circuit? Is he going over the line very, very soon? If he is, we want to see how he compares to his rival in the championship race. Like Kel Hasgo and Alex Spano have posted times. They were 13th and 14th for the moment. It looks like Butcher has gone to P3 with a 1:45.5. It was a decent effort by him. And Gordon Brown has yet to post a time. Oh, he has posted a time now. Where has he ended up? I don't even know if Gordon Brown's competing this evening, and if he's not, that will hand the title to Daniel Als, whatever happens here. So perhaps we don't need to focus on that battle anymore now, because the championship's been decided. However, Ryan George, I'm just looking to see, because Gordon Brown had his worst score of 12th in round 3 of the championship at Zolder. That would give him 14 championship points to add to what he's already got, which moves on to 169. And if that's the case, then Ryan George and Jack King would not be able to catch him. So Ryan George and Jack King will be in their own battle. Mateo De Angelis has already won in class this season at Paul Ricard. You can see the times are coming down. De Angelis is on a 1:45.0. Martin Kravik is second. Kyle Revel is in third. And Cameron Blow is able to go up into third place now with a 1:45.3. He's only a couple of thousands away from Kravik's time with what he's just posted. Andrew Tulloch in 10th position. You can tell you that the top 11 are under a second to each other. That's how close it's been in silver this season. Kravik has got the gap down to less than a 10th between him and De Angelis, but he's still behind him. De Angelis coming over the line, hoping to extend the margin back further here. And he does so, and he's half a second clear now with a 1:44.5. And so the Italian looking to end the season in a particularly strong manner. He's got just over 5 minutes left to cement his position. And so, let's get the hammer down here. We've got the number 70 going over the line, which is Vitra, and he's not been able to improve. We've got the 98 going over the line now. Daniel Als is currently 9th. And he goes up to P7, so he can improve by a couple of positions. Will Rayner has got up to 7th place now. He's able to push Daniel Als back down. And we've got the Triple Eight of Soren Mikkelsen next. No improvement from him. Got the number 26 of Kel Hasgo going over the line next. Does he improve his time at least? No, he does not. The 1:9.152 of Cameron Blair is in 4th place now because Dybel has moved up. The number 77 of Keith Massar. He goes over the line and he does not improve his time, unfortunately. 2:48 of Martin Kravik, who's been impressive so far this evening. Can he get back close to De Angelis? Oh, he can! 5 thousandths away from De Angelis. A very, very good time indeed. Chris Gadman, 15th at the moment, does not improve his time. Ryan George back in the pit, so we'll go to the number 58 of De Angelis, who's aiming for an improvement. He doesn't do so on this lap, comes straight in. I think that might be a little bit of pit stop practice for later, because some drivers got caught pit lane speeding during the last race at the Nürburgring. So they want to make sure they don't get a repeat of it, otherwise that's their race is ruined. We've got the 95 next to head over the line. If I remember correctly, the 95 of Kyle Revel. It goes up to 5th place with a 1:45.1. What about Dybells? He headed over the line. He has. He's in 4th place now, ahead of Kyle Revel with his latest run. But the 98 of Als next goes up to P3. That's more like it by him. And Will Rayner has not been able to improve, I don't think. Oh, he might have done. He got up into 5th position. The 888 of Soren Mikkelsen is next to go over the line. Doesn't improve his time. They've got number 26 of Kel Hasko, who goes up to 12th. And it's Cameron Blair next behind. 4th position for him. Making it a Ferrari 1, 2, 3 and 4. Make that 5 because Butzer is in 5th place. Followed by Keith Massar, who's aiming for an improvement here. He goes up to 14th place. He moved up a couple of positions from where he was. And now it's down to the 248 of Martin Krevek, aiming to get onto provisional pole. He'll get another go at this if he doesn't do it. No improvement this time. But he's getting there. In fact, he's pulling off the circuit. Is he going to have enough time, I wonder, to get round before the checker flag falls? It'll be close. He needs to be very, very quick if he's going to come back out. Got the 720 of Dario Danko, who will be the next to go over the line. Will we see another lap from him? He heads over the line. He's currently 10th right now. He does not improve his time, but will get one more go at it at least. We've got the 95 of Kyle Revel next. P3. He improved by a couple of tenths. And he's on to the 2nd row in silver. The number 17, we've got the number 10 going over the line. Vitra at the bottom, at the bottom of all the silver drivers right now. He remains bottom. And then we've got Will Rayner, who's down to 8th at the moment. 3rd place for him. A radical improvement. You can tell that the track is picking up. And now we've got the 888 of Soren Mikkelsen, who's only 12th right now. The number 26 of Kel Hasko, aiming to improve, does so, goes up to P11. Got the 152 of Cameron Blair, who's in 4th place now. And we've got the 77 of Keith Massar. We'll get one more go at it here. His latest lap is not an improvement. Stays where he is in 14th. Now we've got the 254 of Butz, who's looking to get onto the 3rd row of the grid at least. He doesn't do it on this attempt. But he'll get one more go. Now we've got the 720 of Dario Danko, who is aiming to get into the top 5 really, but he's in P10. He'll get over the line before the checker flag falls. Here he comes, the man from Austria. In the 720 McLaren, Dario Danko heads over the line, and it's not an improvement. He stays in P10, and he's actually going to pull off the circuit. That's his session done. The pro drivers are beginning to come out now, but we've still got drivers on fast laps. De Angelis on provisional pole by 5 thousandths of a second over Martin Krevek. Who else have we got who are doing laps? We've got the 152 of Cameron Blair, we've got the 77 of Keith Massar, and the 254 of Butcher, who's half a second off the pace. De Angelis, can he cement pole? He's gone even further than before. 144.4, and that should do it for him here. Blair comes into the pits. He's not going to improve. Keith Massar is not going to improve either. And Wojtek Butcher is still on the circuit as well. How does Keith Massar get on here? Does he improve his time? He does not. Stays where he is. We'll see how Wojtek Butcher gets on. In fact, he's coming into the pits. So Matteo De Angelis is on pole in silver here in Watkins Glen, ahead of Martin Krevek. We'll get the timetable up, so we'll run down it through it properly. So there is your qualifying session for silver. DeAndre's on pole ahead of Martin Crevitt. Next, Will Rayner and Cameron Blair on the second row. Kyle Revel and Daniel Alce in 5th and 6th. The championship is decided for Daniel Alce because Gordon Brown is not racing this evening. Wojciech Budster and Andrew Tulloch are 7th and 8th, ahead of Mateusz Diebel and Dario Danko. Kel Hasgo and Ryan George are on the 6th row, ahead of Soren Mikkelsen and Keith Massar. Alex Spano and Chris Gedman are on row 8, and making up the grid in silver is Thomas Vitra. The grid is expected to mix up though, because we've got the pro drivers out on circuit, and they are beginning to do their laps now. Carl Sween, who will finish runner-up whatever happens this evening. He cannot catch Alberto Aragoneses, and he cannot be caught by those in 3rd and 4th. Jeffrey Godefroy and Adam Sharp, as well as Morgan Grace. In fact, we've got 3 drivers really that could end up finishing 3rd in the pro. Third in the pro category. Luke Prentice could get a maximum score this evening. However, Jeffrey Godefroy's worst result of the season has been 12th, which means that it's impossible for Prentice to catch him, because if Godefroy gets a worse result here than what he has done in the past, then Godefroy's 12th place hit the 6th round of the season, which I believe was Suzuka. Godefroy's points for that will then apply. So we've got 3 drivers in contention to finish 3rd in the championship. We've got drivers that could finish in P6 in the standings, the likes of Luke Prentice, Jack Prentice. So there's some pride at stake between those two. Farglop Avizel, who had the best race of his season at Nürburgring last week. And we've also got Jay Wazza, who I'm not even sure if he's around this evening. No, I don't think he is. Meanwhile, Carl Swing goes over the line to get the first lap time on the board out of all those in pro. He goes 4th overall, but he's fastest out of all those in pro anyway. Got the 104 of Alberto Aragoneses next. He goes P11 on the timing pages. Neil Jackson goes P13 and 3rd fastest in pro. These lap times will come down. I will guarantee you that. Matteo Simon, who has struggled in recent weeks, he failed to finish in the last couple of events. He goes into, at the moment, where is he on the timing pages? He is 7th on the timing pages, 2nd in pro. And we are looking to see Farglov Result, who posts his first time. He's got some work to do from there, though. He won't want to be at the back. At the moment, Carl Sween is fastest. We're looking to see who's coming up. Jack Prentice has got time on the board. And we've got the 945 next to come through. And it's Anthony Huguenot goes 21st and 7th in class. And then we've got 696 of Chris Faster, who is next to head over the line. And his time is only good enough for 21st overall. We've got Lucas Hervig, Morgan Grace and Mark Bird, who's just posted his first time, even though it's not actually that representative. So we've only got Lucas Hervig and Morgan Grace still yet to post their first times in this qualifying session. If you have joined us in the live chat, we do welcome you. Do get involved if you wish to do so. Ask any questions during the course of this evening's event. And Hervig is not able to get a time on the board there. And we've got the fastest time of the session so far. Matthias Simon has gone to provisional pole. Here is Morgan Grace. Where does he end up? 15th overall and 5th in class in the number 14 Porsche. And we'll look and see who is next going over the line. We've got the 945 of Anthony Huguenot, who's 1.8 seconds off the pace. And he goes up to P12 with his latest lap and third in class, which is a good effort. He's ahead of Aragoneses by 5 thousandths. 696 of Chris Foster is coming through in the Ferrari, goes up to P15. Mark Bird has gone over the, he's coming towards the line now, aiming for an improvement here. He's still slowest of them all, but he's improved by about 1.7 seconds with his latest lap. Carl Sween, second in class as we speak. Aragoneses is fifth. Sween's looking to get the gap down, move further up. Goes to provisional pole by a couple of hundredths. Is Carl Sween. That's a very, very good lap. And Matteo Simon is back in the pits as well. Aragoneses goes fourth and third in class as he pulls off the circuit as he gets ready for one last run. Lucas Herfigers goes up to 25th overall. Number 34 coming through as well. Moves up the order. Farquhar Bissell is fourth out of all those in pro. And we've got the 491 of David Wagner, who is coming round now to get his his next attempt in there. He's 28th overall on the timing pages. Looks to move up the order. He does not move up the order. And so the 945 of Huguenot coming through. Scraping the barrier almost there in the McLaren. And he's up to 12th with his latest attempt. Adam Sharp is next. He improves his time ever so slightly, but it's not enough to move up the order. And we've got the 696 of Chris Foster heading over the line. 9th right now for him. And we've also got Morgan Grace, who's just moved up the order also. Oh no, it's not Morgan Grace actually. It's Neil Jackson. He's gone up into P17. We've got the 678. Who's next to go over, which is Jack Prentice, which we've not talked enough about. Pushing as hard as he can through the last turn of this course. And he goes up to P12, improved by quite some margin, but he's still only 7th in class. The 992 coming through, which is Matteo Simon, who's starting a fast lap. And the number 2 also of Lucas Hervig, 22nd position. It's a very, very nice effort. Got the 34 Farquhar Bizzle, who's aiming to improve his time, which he doesn't do so on this occasion. And so we've got the number 43 of Luke Prentice, who doesn't improve. And we've got the 104. Where is the 104? As he heads over the line, that's Alberto Aragoneses, the pro champion. Does not go up the order. We've got the 491 going over the line. He does not improve. And then we've got the 945 Anselin Huguenot, 14th overall. He's now 9th, ahead of Chris Foster. So Huguenot has gone up to 6th in class there. We've got David Wagner and Mark Bird still on circuit, chasing for improvements. The 78 of Neil Jackson going up to 16th overall. We've still got some time to find there. Mark Bird starts another lap. It's still all to play for here as Jack Prentice makes his way through the last corner. 0.7 of a second he is off provisional pole. Gets it cut down by a couple of hundredths, but no improvement. We've got Matteo Simon, who's coming through the last corner. He's got Morgan Grace right behind. Simon does not go on to provisional pole. Morgan Grace doesn't move up very well, unfortunately. So Lucas Herfig has pushed Grace down. And the number 34 as well coming through. Farquhar Bizzle stays in P7 overall and 4th in class. And now it looks like, is it Luke Prentice just moved up the order? He is, and he's now ahead of his brother. 104 of Alberto Aragonés is chasing for pole here. Does not get pole this time around. We'll have one more go at it. We've got the 491, which is David Wagner, the slowest out of all those in Pro. He doesn't go up the order. And now we've got Chris Foster in P10 overall. You can see Adam Sharp going up to 6th, 4th in class. Number 21, who is continuing to lead the way, which is Carl Sween by a couple of hundredths. It can still change though. Mark Bird, so heading over the line now. Gordon Brown, for your information, has just joined the service, so the Silver Championship is still alive, but Gordon Brown will have to start the race from the back of the grid if he is going to take the start here. Bird goes up to 26th overall, but he's still second to last in the Pro category. So Matesa always click the wall as Simon. That's his chances of pole position gone. Herford going over the line, 9/10 off the pace. Can he get that down and move up the order here? He can't, but he'll give it another go. He's got one more attempt. The number 43 of Luke Prentice. Is he doing well enough? He goes into the top 10. And the number 43 Ferrari. And then we've got the 104 of Alberto Aragonés is going over the line. And he doesn't improve, but he got over the line before the checker flag had fallen. So he'll be the last driver to get a lap in there. I don't know if he's exceeded track limits though at turn 1. But we'll go to the 696 of Chris Foster, who aims for an improvement here. Over half a second off the pace. Does not improve. Carl Sween, who's currently fastest, is aiming for an improvement on home turf. Sween does improve. He's nearly a couple of tenths clear of the rest. A brilliant lap there by Sween to put himself on provisional pole, but we've still got one more driver out there who's looking to improve, and that's Lucas Hervig. Aragonés has pulled out of his last attempt, so where he ends up in class for qualifying, he'll be 3rd at the moment, but we've still got one driver on a fast lap, and that's Lucas Hervig. He won't be on pole. At the moment, he is 12th in class. I don't think he's going particularly quick on this last attempt here, if I am honest with you. We'll stay with him anyway, just in case he is. He's exceeded track limits, and that is his session done. At the end of that, Carl Sween is on pole for Pro and overall ahead of Matthias Simon, who will be on the front row next to him. 3rd will be Alberto Aragonés with Adam Sharp in 4th, and we've got Morgan Grace in 5th ahead of Photoclub Bissell, Luke Prentice, Anthony Huguenot and Chris Foster. We've got Jack Prentice running up the top 10 in Pro, and it's Neil Jackson 11th, followed by Lucas Hervig. Mark Bird and David Wagner round off the grid in Pro. Qualifying is done. It's now on to the last race of Season 13 in Pro and Silver. We'll be back for the race start very, very shortly. Don't go anywhere. The formation lap is underway then for the 9th and final round of Season 13 in Taco Tuesday in the Formula Racing League. Let's run down on the grid then, with Carl Sween on pole ahead of Matteo Simon, both of which racing in Pro. We've got Matteo De Angelis, the fastest of all those, in silver in 3rd place. He'll be alongside Alberto Aragonese. We've got Martin Krevek and Adam Sharp in 5th and 6th. And we've got Will Rayner and Morgan Grace on the 4th row of the grid. Farklov Bizzle and Luke Prentice are alongside each other, running out the top 10 on row 5. We've got Anthony Huguenot and Chris Foster in 11th and 12th in the McLaren and Ferrari. Cameron Blair and Kyle Revel are next, followed by Jack Prentice and Daniel Aus. The championship favourite will be starting from 6th place in silver with his rival at the back. Wojtek Butcher in 17th on the grid, ahead of Neil Jackson in Pro. Andrew Tulloch and Matthias Dybel on the 10th row of the grid, ahead of Lucas Verhervig and Dario Danko. Kel Husgo and Ryan George are next, both of which in silver. Soren Mikkelsen, 25th on the grid in the Ferrari, ahead of Mark Berg. Keith Massar and Alex Spanu are next on row 14. David Wagner has opted to start the race from the pit lane in Pro, which means Chris Gedman and Thomas Vitterer will move up a position each, and we will have Gordon Brown, who'll make up the grid because he did not set a time in qualifying earlier. He only just joined after the silver drivers had completed their private qualifying session. Well, that is your grid, and we are ready to go for the start of this last race. We don't know what the calendar is going to be like for next season, or how the system's going to work in terms of which class each driver is going to be at. Hopefully it'll be as compelling as ever. Is Carl Sween going to get off to the best of starts here? And he may have lost the title to Alberto Aragonese last week, but he's determined to end his season on a high. No Jared Vermeulen this evening, which means that it's a golden opportunity for Sween to pick up another win. He hasn't won since round 4 of the championship, which was at the Red Bull Ring. He's aiming to get off to the best of starts here. I think someone else has decided to start from the pit lane now as well. Mark Bird is that driver. Now both Bird and Wagner are in the Pro category. So we'll have 30 drivers on the grid, 2 starting from the pit lane. And we are ready to go for the last event of the season. Carl Sween in the light green Porsche on the left, with Matthias Simon in the dark green and gold Porsche on the right. The green flag will wave once all the field have gone through that last corner onto the pit straight, and then the green flag will wave to signal the start of the race here. A rolling start, as it ever is in sports cars. Everyone is on the straight now, so we're waiting for the green flag, and we are racing here at Watkins Glen. Sween moves across to optimise his line into the first corner ahead of Simon, and we've got De Angelis, who's able to keep hold of 3rd place crucially and remaining in front of Martin Krevek and Will Rayner, who are the next drivers behind him in silver. But they're coming through the winding section of the course now, with Sween leading. It's Simon, De Angelis, Aragonese is in 4th place still behind the Italian. We've got Martin Krevek ahead of Adam Sharp, and Will Rayner's dropped back, which means that Morgan Grace has moved up. And we've got Farklov Bizzle, who's lost a few positions, I think, in all of that. And it looks like a relatively clean start for the drivers, just making their way through the loop. In fact, we've got a collision right at the back, and we'll look to see who that will be. Mikkelsen's involved. We've got Chris Gedman in there as well. We've got the number 18, who was towards further up the field, I think. Just looking on the timing pages, it's Alex Spanu who's picked up damage. They're all able to continue there. Soren Mikkelsen having to rejoin. Oh, he's got a ton of damage there, has the Dane, so that'll be him off into the pits at the end of this lap. You're able to do your mandatory pit stop at the end of this lap if you wanted to, which means you won't have to pit in again. but it will mean that your tyres will end up degrading sooner, making it more difficult to hold on to race positions towards the end. But Sween is able to hold on ahead of Simon, who's having a better race of it here. De Angelis is still ahead of Aragoneses as they come through. There's a yellow flag, and there's the 888 in the pits, and that's Mikkelsen who's not been able to get back, and so that's his race effectively finished right there and then. We can see that De Angelis is let Aragoneses go through. He knows that's not his race. Drivers do need to be wary of track limits here. They can catch you out, particularly through turns 1, the outer loop, turn 14 and turn 15. And so they are coming down the back straight here before the loop. And now we're seeing a move from Morgan Grace on Adam Sharp into the loop, and Grace rides the curb. Does very well to avoid Sharp, actually. He's able to get back on the circuit without any drama. And so we'll ride on board with Grace. He takes us through the infield section of this racetrack. And he's behind Sharp in the battle for 5th place and 4th in Pro. De Angelis is further up ahead, who's the highest of those so far in silver. I don't think it'll be too long before we see Sharp and Grace get past him. De Angelis will want that buffer though, hence why he's decided to let Aragoneses go and not fight it with him. You can see the skies are darkening here in Watkins Glen, which is set to be a day to night race, which is kind of like a particular tradition now in Formula 1 these days. Is that a marketing opportunity for the US in the future? I don't know. Watkins Glen hasn't hosted a Formula 1 race since 1980. I think the championship had already been decided before then in favour of Alan Jones. We have seen a lot of racing on this track over the years, particularly in NASCAR. They do enjoy racing here. That is a certainty. 8/10 is the margin between Sween in the lead and Simon in second. Just settling into a rhythm, not making any daft errors from here on in. Now the two drivers starting from the pit lane have quite been making their way through the field actually. Mark Bird and David Wagner are up to 26th and 27th. Gordon Brown has kept his car out of trouble. He started from the back of the grid as we watch Vitra almost drifting his way through. And Chris Gedman is in the pits for his stop. I think this will be for repairs. So he'll go down on that once he rejoins back onto the circuit. But Sween in the lead there, ahead of Simon. Aragones is third. Championship already clinched for him. As it stands in the silver category, with Als running in 5th place in class and Brown towards the back of that particular group, it'll be Als taking the silver championship. The only way that can change is if something happens to Als, whether it's like a connection issue or he ends up being involved in someone else's incident. We're over 5 minutes in, we've done 3 laps now, and Sween is making it look easy. Don't know for certain how much fuel he's got on board compared to the others. Refueling is not mandatory, but changing tyres is. Hence why we have this mandatory pit stop. Chris Gedman has rejoined the race, but he's down a lap on the vast majority of the field. Sorry, Mikkelsen has not rejoined the track. He is out of the race after damage at the loop. So on the exit of toe and coming towards heel. You've got Sween ahead of Simon, Aragonés says. And Luke Prentice is now ahead of Will Rayner on the circuit. Daniel Aus is sandwiched in between two pro drivers at the moment, Chris Foster and Jack Prentice. Wojtek Buster is in a pro sandwich as well. Neil Jackson behind. And we've got a group of 5 drivers, Dybel, Tullock, George, Blair and Hasgo. All fighting for 7th place in the silver class. Oh, he just saw someone clip the wall there. Was that Butcher who clipped the wall? I think it was. He hit the wall quite hard actually, which won't do the handling too good. Look on the left hand side, how much damage has he done there? You can see he's just let Neil Jackson go through, and he's going to lose another position to Matthias Dybel, and he's way out of line actually, Butcher, so I wonder if he's picked up an issue. Oh, that's very nearly contact going up the hill. So he is coming through. I can say that Sorry Mickelson has rejoined the race, albeit right at the back, so probably an opportunity to see him get some mileage. Sween and Simon have both got purples on their positions, and it's because they've got identical fastest lap times. Now that could be something for later on, because surely it would come down to who set that time first. Will Rayner is ahead of Pavizel. Not anymore, he's not, because Pavizel has got ahead of him. And Kyle Revel will want to have a go on Will Rayner very, very shortly. Jack Prentice is ahead of Daniel Aus now on circuit, but that won't matter to Aus. As long as he remains in front of Gordon Brown, that's enough for him. What he won't want is Gordon Brown getting too far up ahead of him. We've got a yellow flag, and it's the 134 that's gone off track, and it's Gordon Brown. He's left himself with more work to do than desired. Has he got damage, or was that just a spin? I think it was just a spin. He's carrying on his way though, but he's lost time. Does that spell the end of his title challenge in silver? Unless Daniel Aus finds himself in trouble. Well, Chris Fast has come into the pits in the Ferrari at the end of lap number 5. In terms of number of laps, we're probably looking around about 36 laps, I'd reckon, at most. Bearing in mind, each driver has to make a pit stop. Oh, there's a car off. Is that Andrew Tullett that's gone off? It is. I think he kept it out of the wall. We'll have a look at his windscreen. Yeah, he's kept it out of the wall, but he's lost time and places thanks to that. And he just needs to be careful he doesn't join back into the path of other drivers. He should go back on circuit now. He's way down the order there. I think he did exactly the same thing as what Gordon Brown did on the previous lap. Another driver coming into the pits is Gordon Brown, and we've got another spin, and one of the cars is pointing the wrong way. It's number 2, that's Lucas Hervig. I don't know who he's come together with there, or whether he's just lost it by himself. Gets the car spinning, pointing the right way. You know, just want to settle down and not actually attack the corners in the same way as it has been doing, as those rear tyres will have overheated because of that spin. And now we look at the battle for the lead. Simon has posted a new fastest lap in the 992 Porsche. I want to get a move on and get a move completed on Carl Sween, unless he's waiting around for the pit stops. A bit offline through there. And so Lucas Hervig is coming into the pits for a stop. want to get this done and out of the way, really, and as quick as he can before the leaders do get around. Sween makes a mistake on the exit of the right hand of the left-hander, I should say, and that allows Simon to get alongside, but he's not able to get through. That's going to frustrate Simon a lot. And we've got the 152 back in the pits. He must have had an incident somewhere. And who's that's in the pits there? 152. It's Cameron Blair that's had issues, and it looks like his race is effectively done. And that's a terrible shame there. The man who was fighting towards the top end in the championship in silver has hit trouble, and his race is ruined thanks to it. Sween getting a little bit out of shape there, but he was able to make the corner, and the 103 is the next to be in the pits now, albeit by the pause menu, and it's Mark Bird. He's hit problems as well. It looks like he's left the server. Hopefully we'll see him back in due course, but he's effectively out of the running here. I want to have a look at Simon, who looks to go for it on Carl Sween. Gets into the slipstream, won't be close enough to have a go, will he? Will he make Carl Sween fight for it there? Goes over the curve. Sween spun! Carl Sween's off the circuit. He's back on track there, but surely he's damaged the car by hitting the barrier. Well, the rear wing looks okay, but that hands the lead over to Matteo Simon. Roberto Aragonese second. And DeAndres was able to go through as well, and the next car behind Sween is Adam Sharp, with Morgan Grace and Luke Prentice for company. We're now on lap 8 of the race. We've seen the first major mistake of this event. Sween cracking under pressure. And hopes to get the lead back at some point. Riding the curbs. Now they come down the pit straight. You can see that yellow flag there, but that's because there's a car in the pits and that's retired, so just ignore that. Now coming out of turn number 1. Alex Spanu, who picks up damage on the first lap on the front bumper. So we've got Simon in the lead. Aragonese is now second. In fact, Simon's starting to really slide around. Are we going to see Aragonese take the lead here? Simon looks to defend from Aragonese. DeAndres is under threat from Sween, who started to make up ground again after his error. Revel ahead of Jack Prentice in the battle for 9th on circuit, but in separate classes to each other. Now we go back to the battle for the lead. Aragonese right on board. So then we close out the 9th lap of this race. We're over 15 minutes into this one. And it's anyone's game really as far as the race is concerned. See the two leaders just running wide. I don't know how far out wide you can go on this game cycle in that particular corner. I can imagine we are going to be seeing quite a few track limit penalties being dished out at some point. And now Aragonés looks to the outside there. I can just see Sween has got through on De Angelis, as has Adam Sharp. Now the two leaders. One running wide there and the other just catch him. And Aragonés has touched the grass on the entry. Now give the buffer that Simon needs for now. And Sharp is still behind Sween at the moment as they go through the toe corner. Up the hill they come. No rain is expected for this race. Track temperature 19 degrees, air temperature 19 degrees. Come out. Turn number 13. 14 and 15 to get through now as well before the pit straight. There is Sween, there is Sharp going through that particular corner. Sween did very well to just avoid the barrier there on the exit of the last turn. We're not far away from seeing more pit stops at the moment. We don't expect it for another 4 or 5 laps. And so Sween is in front of Sharp. Oh, and Sharp had to correct a slide on the exit of the loop. He's able to stay on the track. De Angelis in 5th. Looks like Cameron Blair's race is done unless he decides that he's going to rejoin the circuit. You can say that Aragonés has got the gap down to 4/10. As Simon looks to get the car turned in. You can see the headlights are very much coming on now. Will it get to pure darkness by the time the checker flag falls here in Watkins Glen? Let's hope not. But if you look at the time of the race at the moment, 7:26, when we were going through the timings during practice. Oh, is that a car off there in the foreground? It looks like a car that's gone off. Is that Sween that's gone off? No, it can't be. No, I must have been thinking of things. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. But now we're looking at Simon and Aragonés is going into battle again. I thought it was a car that I saw go off, but I could well be wrong. Neil Jackson in the pits, in the Porsche. He looks to get his stop done now and out of the way and get track position. We were seeing Aragonés going one way and then the other. Simon leaves enough space. Aragonés is through into the lead by the looks of it as they come towards the toe corner. And Aragonés is in front now. Into the lead goes Alberto Aragonés. A brilliant move by the champion. And we've got an off involving Gordon Brown again. Points in the wrong way. Looks like he's trying to do a 3-point turn there. And Mikkelsen will go through ahead of him, but he's a few laps down on him. And Neil Jackson will rejoin the race. He's ahead of the leaders, which is important. We're 21 minutes into this one, approaching the end of lap 12. Aragonés in front of Simon as they head over the line together. We've got a battle for 3rd place between Sween and Sharp. given that Jack King is not racing this evening. Ryan George cannot be caught by him, and Doriodenko can still catch him, but he needs to outscore him by at least 12 points, which is virtually impossible. So George's third place in the Silver Championship is pretty much secure. Alberto Aragonés is holding on to his position ahead of Matteo Simon. Sween under threat from Sharp. Let's see if there's any other battles happening on track. I can tell you that Alice is ahead of Dybel, Butcher, Kravec and George. Now we go back to the front. We see Aragonés and Simon in first and second places. As they head over the line together, 0.6 of a second it is between the two, the Mercedes AMG and the Porsche. They go up the hill. This is a determined effort by Simon. We've got Wojtek Budster coming into the pits. He's hoping for another strong performance this evening. And there are the two leaders. Mark Bird out of the race, as is Karen Blair. They are the only retirements in this one. Soren Mikkelsen is at least 3 laps down on the leaders. And we got an off involving the 65, or the 85 rather. No, it is the 65. Andrew Tulloch is off again. Now, has he damaged the car? Yes, he has. He's got damage to the windscreen, and I think he'll struggle to get back to the pits with that. He hasn't made his mandatory stop in this race yet. But with damage like that, that will certainly not help, and it'll extend the pit stop time. A rocky season is going to end up with him falling out of this one. And he's struggling to keep the car off the grass. Will come away from him and go back to the leaders again. Aragonés and Simon still there. And we've got Sween and Sharp in third and fourth. D'Angelo's doing well in fifth overall and ahead of all those in silver. Now, victory would give DeAngelis 146 points. He could move in front of Doriodenko. He'll move in front of Jack King. Depending on maybe how Ryan George gets on, I think DeAngelis may just miss out on third place unless he can get the fastest lap out of all those in silver. It'll be close between him and George. Although, looking at George's positions, his worst result has been a DNF at the first race at the Hungaroring. So there is still a chance that DeAngelis may just pip him to third place. No, DeAngelis won at Paul Ricard. George hasn't won in any race in silver. So you can see Sharp and Sween coming through again. I wonder if Sween may be on more fuel than the leaders are. Well, Andrew Tulloch has been in the pits now. Well, he's in the pits at the moment. They've been in there for some time. Nearly 27 minutes into this one. And Tulloch is going to rejoin the race very, very shortly. He'll have done his mandatory stop. Soren Mikkelsen still yet to do his mandatory stop. Other than him, the top 22 on circuit have still yet to make their stops, but we are coming up to half distance now. Who's going to be the first to pit between Aragoneses and Simon? We've got the 79 Chris Gedman, who's had a spin on the outside of turn 1, but has continued. Keith Massar has come in. Tulloch has done his stop now. He'll rejoin ahead of Mikkelsen, and to add insult to injury, he's picked up a 30-second stop and go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That makes it even worse for his race. And it looks like Simon is coming in for a stop now. In the Porsche, just needs to be careful he doesn't speed as he comes in. Sween and Sharp go through. The 77 in the pits, which is Massar, who hasn't left his box yet. We'll say with Simon as he boxes in now. Clock's at 31:30, so let's see how long it takes for him to do this stop. I would say at least 35 seconds it will be for Simon to get this stop done. And so that Anson Huguenot is coming in the McLaren, as is Kel Hasco. Simon has been in the box for 30 seconds now, and he's out on his way. He did that in around about 33 seconds. That's a good stop at this stage of the race. Thomas Fitcherer is in the Lamborghini, and Alex Spanu has come in, and he'll need to get some repair work done on his car, I would have thought, following his first lap maladies. Aragonés is in the lead still. Matthias Simon, in terms of track position on the map in the 992, is actually in some clear air, which is good to see. It's good for him anyway. Aragonés is going to respond to that by coming in now. Now, does he so to his box? He looked very quick coming in there, did Aragonés. That'll be something to keep an eye out on later, or when he leaves the pits. You can see a couple of drivers leaving their boxes now. Carl Sween and Adam Sharp are also in, which will mean that Luke Prentice will take over ahead of the pack. I wonder what strategy he may be on. Well, if you remember last week, Aragonés ran out of fuel on his way into the pits, and it took him such a long time to get into his box. He lost so much time and so many positions. He still won the title at the end of the night. He's done his stop now, but will his potential pit lane speeding catch up with him when he exits the pits? It has done. I was right to believe he may have gone in too quickly into the pits. Alberto Aragonés has picked up a 30-second stop and go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And that's great news for Matthias Simon. He's behind him on the circuit, but he won't need to worry about that now. That's a disastrous moment there for Aragonese, who had hoped for another victory to finish off his season, but his chances of that happening are pretty much gone now. And he makes his way through past the Ferrari there. And that's the lapped car which he just got through. And that's the 77 which he got by, which is Keith Massart. You can see he's getting the hammer down. He'll be so angry inside him, hence why he's just throwing the car through the corners and just trying to make up for lost time. Matteo De Angelis and Will Rayner are all in. Farkel of Bissell, Daniel Als are also coming in. Dybel stays out there. Martin Kravek also comes in. Ryan George stays out. Dario Danko stays out. David Wagner, who's been towards the back in the pro class, he's decided to stay out as well. Luke Prince is in the lead for now, as he throws his way through the corners. He's even got a chance of maybe winning this race, you know, as Luke Prentice. There's no traffic ahead of him, and he's getting the hammer down. Morgan Grace behind in P2, and it's Jack Prentice in P3. And Aragonese is in to serve his stop and go penalty. Just needs to be careful he doesn't speed again. The skies continue to darken here at Watkins Glen. Andrew Tulloch is in the pits to serve his stop and go, speeding in the pit lane. That might hand a position to Soren Mikkelsen, although Mikkelson's too far back anyway. Luke Prentice has decided that he is going to come in, as is Morgan Grace. Tulloch has done his stop now. Jack Prentice is going into the lead for at least a lap. And there's someone that stopped there. It's the number 18 of Alex Spanu, who I think Mayo was just trying to get out of the way of cars coming in, but he's damaged the car on the rear side of it. I don't think he actually repaired the damage which he came in for there, but he was very slow going into the last corner. So we've got Prentice, Luke Prentice that is, Dybel, Grace, George, Danko and Wagner all in. So Jack Prentice is continuing on his way. Aragonese has done his stop and go. And that has left him, where has that left him now? He's 20th overall on the timing pages. Next car ahead of him is the, well, that's the 65, who's a lap behind him actually. That's how harmful it can be in terms of the risk that you pay. And Matthias Simon, he's effectively into the net race lead. Now if Jack Prince is on a heavier fuel load, it could be, it'll be a very short splash and dash. And he is coming in at the end of this lap. Here's Jack, determined to finish the season in a reasonable manner, gets the car slowed down. I don't think he's going to rejoin ahead of Simon. No, he won't. He rejoined behind Simon. What about Carl Sween and Adam Sharp? Well, he was behind those two. He was behind his brother before they came in for their stops. So I would probably expect... Well, I've just seen De Angelis go down the order. I think he's had a moment somewhere. He's effectively lost the class lead to Will Rayner now, as De Angelis. So that's a body blow for him. Simon goes through ahead of Jack. He's still in his box at the moment. Sween goes through, Sharp goes through. Luke Prentice. Morgan Grace, those two will go through ahead of Jack, who will be leaving the pits right now. Well, he hasn't left the pitch yet. He's leaving the pits. And he's behind Will Rayner on the circuit. He's behind Pavizel. He's ahead of Neil Jackson though. Aragonesa, meanwhile, he's in 20th place and chasing after David Wagner. Aragonesa's worst result this season has been 10th last week. At the moment in class here, as Jack Prentice drops down the order, but that's because he was coming out of the pits and was waiting for the set to start date. Aragonesa is in P10 again. He's got the fast stop of the race though. He's left himself with too much to work to do now. And now we see the champion in the 104 Mercedes AMG not ending the season strongly. Oh, he's gone wide though. Just about keeping out of the barrier, but he needs to be wary of track limits as well. Spanu has come into the pits again, presumably with damage. Now we see Sween over 6 seconds behind Simon in the battle of the lead, with Alan Sharp in 3rd place, and we've got Luke Prentice and Morgan Grace in the top 5. Will Rayner, the highest out of all those, in silver, ahead of Pavizel and De Angelis. Kyle Revel and Daniel Alls have thrown themselves into contention for the race win in silver. On lap 22, Simon looking very good for the win. He's 6.5 seconds clear over Carl Sween. Adam Sharp and Luke Prentice are next. Jack Prentice and Neil Jackson are next behind. It won't be too long before we see Aragonesa's make up some places. As we ride on board the Mercedes AMG pilot. See someone running wide there. Who's that that's running wide? That must be. Is that Dario Danko who's gone off the track there? It is. Aragonesa gets past him, but that's not Danko's race anyway. As both Wagner and Aragonesa are in pro. Is chasing after the 491 Porsche. David Wagner, who's 8 seconds behind Kel Hasgo, who's the next driver up of any car for position. Aragonesa want to get on with it here and get by him. Now we're right on board with Aragonesa's. Wagner keep out the wall? He does. Does Aragonesa go for it into turn 1? Wagner defends the position. Aragonesa will follow him up the hill. Let's see Wagner. Aragonesa's taking slightly different lines there. They go on to the back straight here. Wagner will go defensive. Aragonesa's to the outside. Aragonesa's goes for it. He runs Wagner into a mistake that makes slight contact. Wagner went across the loop there, but that was accidental because of the contact. Spano, who's been in the pits for some time. Aragonés gets alongside Wagner and he goes through. That move had been coming all along. Looks like Alex Spano's season has come to an end after a race to forget here at Watkins Glen. Third driver out of the race, along with Cameron Blair and Mark Bird, who we lost earlier. Soren Mikkelsen will go through ahead of him rather shortly. There is your race leader, less than 6 seconds clear over Carl Sween, who has another shot at going for another victory here. The top 6 drivers are all in pro. But Will Rayner is under threat from De Angelis now, going for it here on the back straight towards the loop. De Angelis gets alongside. Is he alongside enough to go through here? Ahead of Will Rayner, he is! And he's got past! De Angelis takes back the lead in silver ahead of Will Rayner, who goes in too deep into the loop, and he's lost positions to Revel and Prentice. So from the lead to 4th in a space of a few hundred metres, that was a poor mistake from Will Rayner. He perhaps should have conceded the position sooner, and he wouldn't have gone through the loop as hastily as he did. And now Jack Prentice gets past Kyle Revel for 2nd place. In fact, Jack Prentice is ahead of Revel in terms of being in pro anyway. They're in a different class to each other. So Revel is still in 2nd place, ahead of Will Rayner, who's in 3rd in class. And we've got Daniel Aus, who's next to pounce here, doing more than enough to take the silver class title. Gets alongside, and that's a very nice overtake from Aus to get through on Rayner. And Rayner is not, he's defending for all he can despite how bad of a lap he's having. Oh, there's contact made, and that is Aus almost into the wall. Rayner likewise, and that allows Butcher to go through. That was a bit naughty that from Rayner, because Aus was alongside and he was entitled to more room. And now you can see Buster running wide to avoid Rayner as they go through turns 1 and 2 almost together. Buster gets through at last, but Rayner will be back for more here. Approaching the final quarter of this race. It's not quite a foregone conclusion in the pro class in terms of the race. It is for the championship, obviously, but Sween feels that there's still a race victory to chase for, and it's the same in silver, with De Angelis ahead now over Kyle Revel, who will need to try and get back in front of Jack Prentice if he can, unless Jack gets through on De Angelis on track. It'll make things more interesting in silver, that's for sure. That between Simon in the lead and Sween in second has come down to 5.1. Now Sween, in terms of number of laps to go, I would say he's got another 8 laps to go after Simon, so he needs to take at the very minimum 6 to 7 tenths out of Simon's gap at the front if he's going to be coming away with a victory here. See what the gaps are as he goes through sector 1. The gap is still 5.1. You can see how hard he is pushing through the loop. You can see De Angelis in P7 on track as Revel goes after Prentice. Buster in 3rd place ahead of Rayner and Aus going after each other. And we've got an off involving the 696. That's Chris Fast who's had a moment and he's gone into the pits. He must have picked up a significant amount of damage, and that is his race over. So Fast is the next driver to pull out of this. Aragonesa is chasing after Kel Hasgo for 17th position on circuit. The next driver to go after in the same class as Aragonesa is Neil Jackson, who's in 14th. And then it's a long way ahead to go after Jack Prentice. That'll be too much of a job for Aragonesa to go after, even if he is the champion for this season. It was Adam Morgan that took the title last season in Pro. It'll be Alberto Aragonesa this time around. And Jeffrey Godefroy, who is not in this evening, as far as I understand, but he's already got 8 points finishes to his name. And so his 12th place finish at Suzuka will apply, which will give him 14 championship points and move on to 161. So if Adam Sharp, who's in 3rd place right now, can get 24 or 23 championship points out of this, that would see him leapfrog Godefroy into 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship. Carl Sewing will be 2nd no matter what. Adam Sharp will go on to 164 points, 3 clear of Godefroy. That could still change in the closing minutes of this race. And we've got Martin Kravek in the pits. Not 100% sure why that is the case. I don't know if this is an intended pit stop, but it looks like he's hit trouble. He's already done his mandatory stop. That's potentially more time lost there for him, so it's another race to forget. And Aragonesa is through ahead of Hasco into 16th place on circuit. The next driver ahead of him is Ryan George, who's another 7 to 8 seconds up the road. And Chris Gedman will finish the race as it stands. He'll finish ahead of 4 other drivers at least in his class, so he'll end up 14th in class, and by doing so will give him 12 championship points. He has failed to finish on a few occasions, I think, as Chris, who was 10th in the championship coming into tonight, his worst result being 20th. A 14th place finish here would give him 12 championship points, which will put him on to 111. He'll be in the top 10 in silver by the season's end, but at least he's completed, or he's finished every single race this season. Faster has not rejoined the circuit, so that could well be him out of the running. We've got a spin involving the number 70. And number 70. Oh, there's a car in the wall. That's Chris Gedman. Spoke a bit too soon there. He's done some real damage to that car. At least he hasn't got too far to get back to the pits from there, but the car won't handle to the best of his liking as he runs wide. And we've got another car going wide at that same corner. It's Andrew Tulloch who's he's spun round there. Has he got any damage to the windscreen? He hasn't this time around. It's been another race to forget for him. Martin Kravitz rejoined the circuit now. He's in 24th place on track overall, ahead of Gordon Brown. And Aragonesa has got the gap down to 6.1 seconds over himself and Ryan George. Matthias Simon. It's coming up to lap 9:45 of Anthony Huguenot, who's in 20th place overall. Of course, for 11th place in class. Hello to all those that have come in and joined the chat. The season finale here at Watkins Glen. The gap between Matthias Simon and Carl Sween has come down to 4.3. I don't know if that's because Simon is managing the gap. Carl Sween is going for it here. He's stuck behind. Who's he stuck behind there? That looks like the number 70 there, who's running in 21st place. That's Thomas Fitcherer in the Lamborghini. I think he was the one who had a spin earlier. Gedman in the pits now for repairs. Hopefully it won't be too long before he has to go back out on circuit, but it will cost him a position to Andrew Tulloch, I'd have thought. Simon, once he crosses over the line, he will have 4 more laps to get through. So he's looking at a 34 lap event here. I think actually once the clock does reach 0, whatever lap the leader is on will be their last lap. So yeah, it will be 4 more laps. Just hope that Simon's got enough fuel on board. This is now 4.1 behind Ryan George. We've got the 696 in the pits. Who would that? Oh, that's Chris Faster. My apologies. And Chris Gedman did rejoin ahead of Andrew Tulloch, who's just whacked the barrier on the exit of turn 3. Now he's coming through that in the Aston Martin, just waiting for the race to be over now. You can look back where he'd gone wrong. 3.4 seconds is the margin between Aragonese and George. As for Neil Jackson, he's like another couple of seconds up the road. I think Aragonese is going to run out of time to catch him. It's going to end up being 9th place in this one, which won't be his worst score of the season for Aragonese. We'll look at the battle between Kyle Revel and Matteo De Angelis in the silver class. With just over 5 minutes remaining here. Bush is too far back. He's in his own battle with Will Rayner and Daniel Aus. As we ride on board with De Angelis as they go through turn number 9. And this is turn number 10 before they get to the toe corner. Four tenths is the margin between Revel, as De Angelis didn't get the best of lines right through the toe bend. And Chris Gedman is back in the pits once more. He is not having a good time of it out there. He must have hit trouble again. He's damaged the car again. That's his race heavily compromised, and he's falling behind Andrew Tulloch as a consequence. And you can see Soren Mikkelsen, who's had a lonely race. Alex Spanu's come back out onto the track now as well. I think he just wants to get to the end. If he can complete enough laps, he might just beat Chris Faster, although actually Alex Spanu is in a different class to Spanu, so it actually doesn't really matter. Aragonese is 1.6 behind George as they come around to complete another lap. Simon's gap over Sweeney is 5 seconds, so I think it's a foregone conclusion as to who's going to be winning the race this evening. And Aragonés is all over the back of Ryan George now. So he's drifting his way through the corner, desperate to get through. Chase after Neil Jackson, but I don't think he's going to catch up to Neil. And Anthony Huguenot is now down a lap yet on the leader. No, he's not. He's still going. But Alberto Aragonés has had a lacklustre couple of last races, but he's still doing enough to win the championship as he completed last week. As for the silver class, despite being in 5th place, Daniel Alves is going to do more than enough after Gordon Brown's nightmare of a night. He joined in late, hence why he missed qualifying, started from the back, and he found himself in the wars soon after. Oh, you can just see Alberto Aragonés scraping the barrier coming onto the pit straight. And that's not going to do the car any good, really. So they come through the exit of 1 and towards turns 2 and 3. Aragonés is looking to the outside. George going defensive. Aragonés is alongside George now. Will they get through the corner safely together? Well, I can say Aragonés has had to lift off the throttle as they both went through the loop. And thankfully they didn't make any contact. I think Neil Jackson's position in 7th place in Pro is, or 8th rather. And the race leader, Matteo Simon, is on his final lap now. Not had a lot to celebrate this season, has Simon, but he's going to end his championship on a high. He was 11th, he's had 3 non-finishes, he's had 2 podiums to kick-start his season. Nothing really had gone right for him since, but he's got it right here this evening. He's going to finish in the top 10. That's for certain, with Chris Faster potentially not going to be finishing. As it stands with Jay Wazza not finishing either, as I think Huguenot just allowed the race leader to go through, so it's one last lap for Huguenot to complete. Matteo Simon from France has done a splendid job this evening. He put it on pole and had a battle with Carl Sween in the early stages until Sween had that spin. Aragonés quickly took over until he got caught speeding in the pit lane, and Simon just took the lead and ran away with it. The skies may have fallen, and there's nothing that was going to stop Matteo Simon coming away with the victory here tonight. Matteo Simon in the 992 Porsche is going to complete his championship on a high. He wins in Taco Tuesday at Watkins Glen. What a fine drive by his standards. Carl Sween second in the championship, 2nd place here. And it's Adam Sharp on the podium for the 3rd time this campaign. And that is enough to seal 3rd place in the championship for him. Morgan Grace in a fine 4th. He is 4th in the championship overall by my calculations. Or 5th rather. Luke Prentice 5th, and it's Farclough Abyssal. Jack Prentice 7th. Kyle Revel wins in the silver class at Watkins Glen as well. And with Deandra's 9th overall and 2nd in class. Daniel Alves has crossed over the line and he has won the Silver Championship in Taco Tuesday. What a performance from him. What a season he's had with 3 wins. He was going to be the deserving victor. Alberto Aragonés, this season's champion, has crossed over the line in 9th place in class, but he can celebrate with a few donuts whilst he's at it. There's your race winner. It is Matteo Simon in the 992 Porsche at Watkins Glen to end his season in a blaze of glory. We're just waiting for the last remaining drivers to head over the line. Alex Spanier will cross over the line very shortly. Has he done enough to get ahead of Chris faster, maybe? Let's have a look. No, he's not done enough, but it doesn't matter because they're in different classes to each other. Chris Gedman, what's been a tough season for him, gets to the checker flag without any issues. It's time to run down on the race result then. We'll begin with Pro. Matteo Simon is the winner, ahead of Carl Sween and Adam Sharp completing the podium. Morgan Grace 4th, ahead of Luke Prentice. Farcliffe Bissell doing another brilliant drive to 6th. Jack Prentice 7th. Neil Jackson 8th. Alberto Aragonés is in 9th and getting the fastest lap. David Wagner running out the top 10, ahead of Anselin Huguenot and Lucas Hervig. And those were the last of the finishers, with Chris Faster and Mark Bird failing to finish. So only 12 out of the 14 in Pro making it to the checker flag. In Silver, just get the Silver table up. Kyle Revel won out in the end, ahead of Matteo De Angelis, and it's Wojtek Buster who did very, very well to get up to 3rd. Ahead of Will Rayner and Daniel Els. Matthias Dybel 6th, ahead of Ryan George and Kel Hasco. Dario Danker and Thomas Fitcherer running out the top 10. Keith Massart was 11th, followed by Martin Krevek. Gordon Brown 2nd in the championship after his 13th place finish today. Andrew Tulloch 14th. Chris Gedman 15th, and have Soren Mikkelsen and Alex Spanu, who made it to the end despite being 10 laps down. Cameron Blair, the only driver not making it to the checker flag in Silver. As I've already mentioned, Alberto Aragonés is champion in Pro, ahead of Carl Sween and Adam Sharp, who snatched 3rd place from Jeffrey Godefroy, who didn't compete this evening. In the Silver category, Daniel Els is champion, with Gordon Brown in 2nd place, and taking 3rd is Ryan George, despite his 7th place finish this evening, but he's done more than enough to hold off Matteo De Angelis, who did very well to get 2nd place today. He has finished ahead of Dario Danko and Jack King, so Matteo De Angelis is 4th in the end. So it's Daniel Els, Gordon Brown, Ryan George and Matteo De Angelis in that order in the Silver category. After 9 rounds, that rounds off the 13th edition of Taco Tuesday in the Formula Racing League, and it also marks the end of my time as a commentator for Taco Tuesday, for a while at least anyway, as I move on to new opportunities. Thank you very much to everyone that's tuned in, been following the action, and whoever takes my place as the commentator for this particular championship, I wish you all the best, and I wish all the drivers for season 14. If you have enjoyed that, do make sure you like and subscribe, and feel free to check out all the championships that the Formula Racing League has to offer, and I'm sure if there is something on there that interests you, do make sure you get involved in the Discord, as there's the FRL Discord of which for you to get in touch. To look at the standings, there is the SimGrid website to find out where all the drivers have ended up finishing in their respective categories. It's time to end it there. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll speak to you again soon, or at least I will speak to you again soon at some point when the Formula Racing League returns.